G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Hill and Dale of all maps on a brand new patch. Don't think I forgot about it. Brand new patch, brand new expansion. This is the Sultan's Ascend. Welcome one and all. It is great to be bringing you this content. Let's dive into our players. Spawning in on the north side of the map. Playing in the Chinese. In the color red representing Izzy Dream, we've got Marine Lord. And on the south side of the map in the color yellow, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, we've got Lucifron 7. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hill and Dale. We're back here once again casting an EGC Finals game from 2023. Make sure you check them out this weekend. I'll leave a link in the description, and make sure, if you haven't already, leave a like on this video. It really helps out with the traction of the channel. And have a look at this, an absolute banger from Marine Lord early on. Gets the mill down on the berries, on the sheep, and of course, the deer as well. Right next to each other. He's going to be having an absolute field day with this mill. This Imperial official is going to be on here for the next 20 minutes, and he's going to be loving life. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about this matchup. This matchup is a notoriously difficult matchup for the Delhi Sultanate, considered by many at the pro level to be unwinnable. And the reason why is just simply because of the Zhuge-Nu. The Zhuge-Nu is an incredibly powerful unit. However, there are special units that do very well against it. Units like the Knight, units like the Men-at-Arms can do pretty well as well. But mainly the Knight, things like the Keshik are also good. Anything that gets a little bit of extra armor in those early ages. The problem is, when you're playing as the Delhi Sultanate, you've got a timing that you're wanting to keep. You're wanting to try and get to that castle age. You want to try and get to lances. That's your goal. But the Zhuge-Nu are very good at keeping you down. They're very good at taking out your archers. They beat them completely. They're good at taking out your spearmen. They beat them completely. And even your Ghazi raiders, they get absolutely destroyed by Zhuge-Nu. Obviously, we like to keep a couple of spears with them just in case things go downhill. Have a look at this. We got ourselves a little bit of a tag team. You can see that Lucifron does the smart thing and he's running forward. So he's just mirroring Marine Lord's scout. You can see right there, he's always looking to try and stay in front of it. It's not until he gets faked out that Marine Lord's able to break free from that. But essentially what he was doing is guaranteeing that any of those sheep that he came across were going to be hopefully converting to him. Sometimes they can be a little bit awkward on whether they convert or not to you or to the player that's behind you. It's a bit weird sometimes, but Age Up now coming through, and it's going to be the Dome of the Faith. Very interesting decision already coming out from Lucifron. I think this is exactly what he needs to switch up what the standard is in this matchup. You know, most often playing this matchup, well, not this matchup, but the civilization, the Delhi Sultanate, you're looking towards the Tower of Victory. You're looking towards getting out that archer mass nice and early and then getting that transition on into the castle age. Here, it's a different approach. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second town center potentially coming out from him, looking to mirror that build that we saw from Louis MT at the beginning of Season 5. I don't know if you guys remember it, but essentially he brought out the Dome of the Faith, went into 2 town centers, and just played a bit of a passive castle age game. Could definitely be on the cards here, so we'll have to keep an eye out exactly what Lucifron looks to get into. Now, one of the things to note is that this is a series casted. This is an EGC TV Finals series. Now, we're not going to cast all the games from this matchup. If you'd like to see all of the games, make sure you check out EGC TV. And of course, this weekend at 15 GMT, the grand finals are going to be on. I want you to be there Saturday and Sunday. Make sure you go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. But we won't be casting all of the games from this series, but I just want to say, Marine Lord picked the Juicy Legacy, and now he's picking the Chinese. Maybe it's just the map pool, but I'm telling you right now, this civilization, it's starting to look good. It is starting to look really good. Nice little pick up right here, and we do start to see Marine Lord now out over onto the deer for a little bit. Does quickly realize, hold on, I want you guys on the sheep. You always want those vills on the sheep. He's got enough resources now for the... Actually, I take it back. I'm used to playing the Juicy Legacy. I was like, oh, he's got enough for the Song Dynasty. No, he doesn't, Drongo. I tell you what, the first time I go back and play my my OG Chinese instead of playing as the Juicy Legacy, I'm going to make that mistake and be like, why can't I go Song Dynasty? And it's, oh, I don't have enough gold for it. I'm 30 gold short. Won't be surprised if it does happen. But have a look at this. Marine Lord slowly pushing these deer on the way in, just doing one at a time. To be honest, they could be a little bit closer. There we go. Does the right thing. Age Up's on the other side of the map, though. Lucifron going ahead with it. Doesn't look like we'll see that second TC out for him, but I like the Dome of the Faith. Really smart, and we can already see he's working towards those scholars over and over and over again, just looking to try and get more and more of them out. That's going to be his second one. Third one coming through now as well, even though we don't see the little bar on the other side of the map. The Barbican comes up for Marine Lord, and now throwing down the Imperial Academy behind it. Does he look for a second TC here? Normally in this matchup, I feel like going for the second TC is a trap. I feel like just playing one TC Song Dynasty is the correct way to do it. I think in this matchup, if you do go for the second town center, there's a strategy that you can do with the Chinese called a breakout strategy. And the idea is that you go into a big economy, try and just chill in your base, let your opponents take the sacred sites, and then you're going to break out and then inevitably, eventually, capture those sacred sites, neutralize them, and then you're going to kill your opponent. And I don't think Marine Lord's going to go for something that ballsy. I don't think he needs to. He can just pretty much play one TC, Song Dynasty, get out some Zhuge early on, maybe even look for a Castle Age, and then follow it up with the Town Center a little bit further down the line. But he doesn't really need to go for a win condition per se that the Chinese would normally go for, that being, you know, the 2 TC big economy sort of thing. Rather, he can just kind of play this accordingly with the Zhuge and just win on the military side of things, as long as he's able to keep up with what his opponent is putting down. But we now start to see walls coming up on all 3 sides, which leads me to think he might be going for it. Yeah, he's going to do a second TC. I feel like this might be a bit of a mistake for Marine Lord. As I said before, in this matchup, you can get away with a second TC, but it has to be a very specific style that you play. Essentially, what you need to do is you need to, like, he's doing the right thing, right? Like, he's walling up like a madman, which is definitely the correct play. The big thing for me, though, for Marine Lord, that he has to do, this is the key part of playing this style, you have to deny 1 sacred site. You can let them have 2, and eventually they will have a 3rd sacred site, but you have to deny 1. And often that means even putting the Barbican on this central sacred site, just because you can see it's quite close, right? And you can get away with just 1 villager coming down here, building the Barbican, and that's going to delay the sacred site. And the idea is not that you're going to stop your opponent from keeping this sacred site. Eventually they will take it, and that's okay. The problem that you're dealing with right now is that your enemy is going to be able to go for a sacred victory. And that is the scariest thing to deal with as China, because it's only a matter of time until you're going to be able to overwhelm your opponent. Problem is, 10 minutes often isn't enough. Second Town Center, on the way for Marine Lord. You can see he's just about to cross that threshold. There we go, he's got more than enough. Looking to put it down in the back of the base, most likely. We see it connecting. Look at that, beautiful. I love to see it on the 7-minute mark. Marine Lord needs, so at this point, this scout right here needs to be out on a sacred site, denying 1 of these sacred sites. You can see that Lucifron's doing an incredible job here. All 3 of the scholars in perfect position, and this just goes to show his understanding of this matchup. He knows exactly where he needs to be to get that sacred site timer ticking. Such a smart move from him early on in this game. Remember, the key here is not denying the sacred site from the gold, it is denying it from the victory. That's what we want. And now that all 3 sacred sites have been taken, now that all 3 sacred sites are ticking gold in for his opponent, this means that Marine Lord is on a very literal timer. Less than 10 minutes to go before Marine Lord faces an objective defeat. No 2 ways about it. But he is prepared for this. He knows what he's up to. He's going for that 2 Town Center. He will be looking towards a Castle Age. I suspect he'll probably look to push out with Spearman Crossbow. That's normally what you see these players do from this. But the biggest issue that he's going to have, as I mentioned, it's that 17 minutes, it's good game. 17 minutes, the game is up. The jig is up. The game is over. He will lose. So he needs to make sure that he is ready for that. He needs to be out on this map, eventually putting on pressure. I tell you what, I'm already not liking this for Marine Lord. The fact that the second Town Center, I mean, it was a little bit late, but that was only just because of the walls, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't face any kind of ramifications for playing so greedy. The other thing to note that you can potentially do here is you can go for 3 TC. It does mean you're a little bit slow, but it means that eventually your timing around the 16-minute mark is absolutely perfect. The problem is he doesn't have a lot of flexibility in this. You know, 1 or 2 stone walls, and it's going to ruin his day. But speaking of walls, we've now got them coming up over on the sacred sites. Hopefully Marine Lord doesn't miscalculate his strength in this matchup. Remember, this matchup is considered by many to be one of the hardest matchups on the Pro Tour. It is very difficult to defeat the Chinese as the Delhi Sultanate. You need to have 1 up over the top of them, and we can see that so far in this game, Lucifron has definitely managed to do that, and we can see that just through basic things like his landmark choice. Most players not going to look to go into the Dome of the Faith, but yet we see it here, and we see him capturing all 3 sacred sites at the same time, and he does it very early on in the game at the 7-minute mark. So at this stage of the game, it's going to be about that 17-minute 30 mark that we're going to be looking out for, that Marine Lord's going to have to fight up against. And already a couple of units coming out here for Marine Lord. I can't help but feel like this might be a little bit of just wasted time, wasted resources. For me, the most important thing Marine Lord needs to do right now is just get up to that Castle Age, focus on what makes him special. And that's going to be the spearmen, that's going to be the crossbows, and of course that is going to be the piece de la resistance the nest of bees. That's going to help him out in this situation. But now, starting to see those units building up. We can see a couple of archers out. He's got plenty of Ghazi Raiders, and it looks like he might get eaten alive if he's not careful. Lucifron is in position to take this out. Does not want to be losing any sacred sites early on. The walls are up. A beautiful, and this is a great buff to the Delhi Sultanate, by the way. The fact that you can wall to these resources just makes walling so much easier. Do you remember back in the old days, you had to wall all the way around the resources? These days, you just wall to them. It's beautiful. And now looking on that bottom side to throw down the Palisade Gate. Age up comes through for Lucifron, 10 minutes into the game, and there's the Lancers coming through. It's already looking amazing for Lucifron. His timing on this is impeccable. Village fortresses on the way through, utilizing that compound of the defender. No surprise there that we do see it through. And now looking to put pressure on this central sacred site. If he's able to neutralize this sacred site, this can be massive for him. This will actually be a huge victory for him because it buys him time. He's already lost 3 minutes on that sacred site timer. And he realizes it might be too tough. He's not really working towards that castle age at this stage. Instead, going to be playing it a little bit longer in feudal. But remember, every second he stays in feudal is a second that the Lancers are allowed to come out on the field, and you need crossbows to deal with them. The feudal age spearmen just won't be effective enough. And now the Ghazi Raiders managing to come through onto the front side. He's looking to try and keep this sacred site in his possession. The archers doing a decent job of keeping those spearmen clear, and you can see that he's been cleaned up completely. The reinforcements are now going to come through with the Lancer arriving. This is just pretty much good game at this point. The fact he's investing resources here into this front line, it feels terrible. He hasn't been able to secure the sacred site. It's still held by his opponent. The sacred timer continues to tick. 6 minutes 44 to go, and now once again he's going to stand on that sacred site. Now the men-at-arms arrived. Has he got +1 in? He does have +1 in. This means that the men-at-arms will be taking absolutely no damage here. We can see that +1s come through from Marine Lord, even though, I mean, technically it doesn't actually change the matchup, but the men-at-arms are nigh impossible to deal with now at this stage of the game. It's going to be incredibly difficult for him. As long as he's able to just keep one unit on the sacred site, make sure that it stays in his possession, this is absolutely fine. Marine Lord now continuing to rally units down here. As I said, I think this is a massive waste of resources. Ideally, he wants to move in a nest of bees, and now we hear that sacred site is once again under contest. Over towards the west side, we've got walls up, we've got walls up, we've got walls up everywhere, but still towards the middle of the map. That's going to be your key spot. More men-at-arms coming through. These guys will be able to hold the sacred site once again. Lancer stands on here, looking to try and bypass a couple of the spearmen. Now making their way to the front. Needs to make sure that that gate is not blocked. He's able to stand on the sacred site, able to continue holding it down. We don't see any progress towards villages on stone. No sign of a keep at the moment, but look at this. The armored units are building up. He does have 5 scholars out, so could look to heal. And now the men-at-arms together with those lancers looking to try and crush through these forces. It all comes down to this sacred site right now. Marine Lord Macro going a little bit out the window. 24 villagers on wood. He's going to be looking for a farm transition through shortly with that wood, but you can see Marine Lord's going to be forced away from this position as those lancer numbers continue to build. That's the scary thing about this matchup. It's only a matter of time until the lancer numbers become critical and that you just kiss goodbye to your feudal age army. Marine Lord with 22 Jugunu in the queue at the moment. He's only got 3 archery rangers, but one of them's got an Imperial official on it. And now those Lancers have indeed made their way forward. Archers also looking to tee off towards the front line there. But unfortunately, the Lancer numbers together with the men-at-arms will force Marine Lord back. And this has been a massive miscalculation from Marine Lord. Lucifron able to hold the sacred site. Now ticking down 6 minutes. He's invested all of this time, all of these resources in taking this sacred site, but the reality is you cannot kill this without crossbows. That's just as basic as it comes. You not only need to stand on that sacred site, but you need to make sure your enemy is not on this sacred site as well. Wow, what an absolute hold there by Lucifron, but this was something that we expected. The speed, the haste at which he was able to age up definitely indicated that he was going to have armored units out quickly. So the fact that Marine Lord, without delaying those sacred sites being captured, meant that he knew he was on a timer, and he went for an all or nothing right there, and I can't help feel like he might be in trouble this game. Crossbows need to be out on the field. He needs them out immediately, so this age up cannot come through fast enough. He's on 83 villagers, but remember that his opponent has neutralized some of that or managed to make up some of that. We've got the sacred sites that are ticking. We've also got relics that are now in the bag as well. We'll switch it over at the 14-minute mark and check in with these economies. You're talking about 13. We're talking about 2k resources here for Lucifron compared to his opponent that sits at about 2k as well, Marine Lord. And now with a keep potentially on a line, we can see these villagers beginning to move out. He's just going to be sticking it on gold instead here. These guys will eventually come over to build that keep because he knows this is the most important. This is the most important sacred site. But you can see right now the importance in delaying that sacred victory. Every single second you can get in this matchup is imperative to preventing those sacred site victories from going off. Age up now comes through. It's going to be on the front side, the astronomical clock tower. Expect to see Nesta Bees coming out shortly. But remember, you're largely up against armored units here. The main thing that you're wanting to go into is crossbows. Crossbows, crossbows. So hopefully we see those coming online for him shortly. There they are, 6 crossbows. He needs to have a front line with these as well. So expect to see men-at-arms, or rather palace guards. Expect to see more spearmen in queue as well. There's the palace guards now coming through. Archer numbers looking pretty decent here. The Zhuge should be able to get decent damage onto them exactly where he wants to go with them. And now the Palisade Gate going to be under pressure. +2 ranged armor yet to come through, but it's only going to be a couple more seconds until he's got to hit it. The secondary wall has not been thrown down yet. He's managed to eat most of the berries on the front line. Farm transition is through on the back here. Not the best. I'm calling the macro police, Marine Lord. You're done for, my son. You're missing out on at least 2 farms here. You could be having a beautiful little boom rack there, but unfortunately it's not perfect. 2 ranged armor comes through for his opponent, and at the same time 2 ranged attack now coming through for Marine Lord, but the ranged armor will cancel it out immediately. Really well played at this stage of the game by Lucifer from Marine Lord. Is 100% on the back foot. He's only got a couple minutes to go. 3 minutes and 47 with Village Fortresses coming online. You guys know exactly what that means. It means we're going to have keeps coming down in the middle, and we need a response to this. And it's not trebuchets. I can tell you now, trebuchets are not going to be fast enough for it. You cannot go into trebuchets here. Way too many resources invested for not enough oomph. You can do battering rams, but you're probably going to have to do like 4 to 5 battering rams to clear that bad boy out. But now the spearman numbers still quite low here. Only on the 5 spearmen at the moment. More palace guards coming out. The Zhuges are in pretty decent position. Crossbows have been mixed in now. He's got 8 crossbows in the queue. The problem's going to be he needs to micro these separately. Crossbows up against the melee or the armored units. Zhuge up against the archers. Archers teeing off on that back line as well, doing a decent job here, focusing them down one by one. He's able to get behind the wall, but remember, the timer is not on his side right now. Marine Lord will face 3 minutes until Sacred defeat. He needs to get these units online, and we see the market thrown down on the front. He's selling his wood. He said, I've invested too much in my wood cutting economy. He's going to be selling it, and there we go. We see 600 sold immediately. No, it's 600 in barracks that are thrown down. What's the market for? There we go. Now he's selling it. Needs a little bit of gold in the bank. There's the Nesta Bees coming online. He realizes the archer number for his opponent is still pretty high. And not just melee armored units for this stage of the game. Keep coming down on that eastern sacred site. West sacred site still still exposed, still open. Just a small palisade wall dealing with it at the moment. But you can see the importance of walling it in like this. And I gotta say, this buff to the Delhi is absolutely amazing. Delhi players around the world will be feeling this buff. The fact that walls can now be easily connected to any resource, not just wood lines, makes the Delhi significantly stronger. Now, towards that front side, Marine Lord still down, still out. He's gone and he's turned this matchup on its head. You can see Marine Lord with double the villager count from his opponent has 2 minutes until Sacred defeat. There's a single sacred site that is unprotected. I don't think he's going to recognize or realize which one it is because he doesn't have the scout out on the map. You can see not a single scouting unit here, has no insight as to what his opponent is up to. Unable to secure this gold either. Keep in mind, the gold back in the base has now almost finished. He's got 800 left on it. I don't even think he's going to be able to get through it by the end of this Sacred victory though. So we got to make sure that we keep our head above water, and it looks like he will be going towards that top side. Definitely doing the right thing, but a keep is coming up on the dot. 16 villagers now towards that top side. He needs a response to that keep. The Nesta Bees moving out by itself. Marine Lord's got to be careful. He's up to 32 crossbows. Numbers starting to look good, and they'll be able to tee off towards these armored units. The Nesta Bees also able to do work against the veteran archer. Okay, not a bad little composition he's got here. It's only going to be a matter of time. Has he got a way to get through this palisade wall, though? Second keep on the top side may come down. This keep is in an absolutely awkward position. I think he needs battering rams. Does he have siege engineering? I don't even think he's got time for siege engineering. Where's the blacksmith right now? I know it's there. There it is. He doesn't have siege engineering. And now pushing to that front line. The keep was Marine Lords. I take it back. It wasn't a second keep. The Nesta Bees, a little bit exposed, manages to cover it. 45 seconds till the Sacred victory. He needs to get on that site. He stands back. The crossbow's still in position. I don't think he knows a way to get onto the site. Villagers also here. I think Marine Lord needs to pull villagers if he wants a chance at winning this. He's heading back towards that central Sacred site. He's got to get through the walls, though. Remember that. Not only that, he has to stand on that Sacred site, neutralize it from his opponent, and hold on for dear life. 24 seconds to go. The archer's teeing off once again. He needs to break through the walls. The keep is going to come up. He needs to buy himself time. 18 seconds to go. The palace guards are out. I don't think he's going to do it. The crossbow's on the back. Where's the Nesta Bees? It's too far away. Villager's going to get cleaned up. I think that's it. He lost himself the game when he decided to fight it feudally. And unfortunately today, Lucifron is victorious in a matchup considered by many to be the hardest in the game right there. Incredible performance by Lucifron, but massive oversight by Marine Lord. Fellas, go check him out. EGC TV this weekend, 15 GMT. Be there or be square.